There have been a lot of people who tend to say that ROI on FMS is very high, very good ROI. But I would rather like to discourage such kind of notions about FMS. Despite all the tribulations that other business schools have gone through in this year, particularly, FMS has been relatively highly successful in placing a very large number of students. I joined FMS in 1990 as a lecturer, and it's been 35 years, close to 35 years now that I would be completing. The journey in FMS, you will see that all my colleagues will vouch for it. Something about FMS which doesn't really make you to feel tired about engaging in any kind of a productive activity. There have been times, it's only last few years that I don't work on Sunday. Otherwise, we are passionate to come to the campus, passionate to interact with the students. Anytime it's a kind of a freewheeling conversation that we would like to have. And therefore, FMS has been a kind of a place where you felt more loyal, more committed, more student friendly, uh, a much more, a family kind of a feeling of with the colleagues and with the students. 35 years is almost a half of my time in the entire FMS journey. FMS is just about uh, commencing its 70th year of its existence. So it feels very nice to be part of that entire journey. Uh, Second most important part is that FMS is a unique institution where the societal concern and the values that we instill in our own business, among our students, is something that is unparalleled. Being part of the Delhi University, it also gives enormous amount of meaning to start thinking much more about my contribution to the society, not so much about only becoming a corporate honcho and materialistically successful. One of the unique elements about FMS has been the diversity and inclusion that FMS prides in itself. There have been a lot of people who tend to say that ROI on FMS is very high, very good ROI. But I would rather like to discourage such kind of notions about FMS. Here we give equitable opportunity to every sections of the society. The number of students who come from socially and economically deprived groups is much more accommodating in FMS, getting accommodated in FMS compared to any of my peer institutions. We perhaps have close to 10 to 12 category of students, socially, economically, even orphans are accommodated in our club. So people coming from all kinds of background, the only criteria that we have is that you have a good CAT score. Some of FMS students have grown up with certain kind of values that are not necessarily you will see it in other peer group. You can talk to the students about what these values are, which are, if I say it, then you will say that it's a bit of exaggeration. You can talk to our students and find out what those values are. Certainly frugality and thriftiness, but also a great deal of concern about subsidy that the government of India has spent on them. They should really contribute back to the society. I think it's important for you to realize that any business school, although we are not called within business school perspective because we are a university department, is a grooming ground. A grooming ground wherein the students take upon the leadership positions in their respective area of passion, whether they are into culture, whether it is in sports, whether it is on students placement, whether it's about a particular subject matter like a marketing or a finance or an operations of society. When they assume such kind of a roles, they are given complete freedom with the faculty mentor to them so that they can assume a greater degree of responsibility and showcase their own innovative ideas that can be largely shared by the students at students community. Being in Delhi, we are also extremely blessed to have most of the government, central government, federal government, ministries being run. How the policy is made, how the bureaucrats implement those policies, how government works, how regulators work, how the the dynamics between the business and the government takes place. They are almost at a close proximity to witness this. So when you give students that kind of a liberty with just about one faculty mentor to help them through, it's not that that particular faculty is the only one who is mentoring the entire student community or that particular society. Every faculty member pitches in with, oh, I know this person in this particular ministry. Why don't you go and talk to them? So this is students led learning, right? Alumni relations is one of my topmost priority. I took over as a dean in the last 6 months, so I am prioritizing as one of the most important, priority for FMS. We already have a robust network of alumni relations cell from the students' point of view. We also have a alumni association, a registered body, and we have a third group of people, not a third in the sense each one of them would like to devote on certain kind of a specific part of the alumni relations called alumni forum. One of the strong points on which we can pride ourselves is that alumni has been contributing both visibly as well as invisibly. The success of our students placement and FMS has been one of the very highly regarded place for student placement, despite all the uh, uh, you know tribulations that other business schools have gone through in this year particularly. FMS has been relatively highly successful in placing a very large number of students. Limited number of students are yet to be placed, and we will also place them. But this placement success is not only by the faculty and the students concerned, but a lot of our alumni, pitch in order to really help our students to uh, coach them, guide them, give them appropriate direction in which they can seek out employment opportunities. So there is a lot of invisible element of alumni already doing a great deal of service to us. My priority for this particular time that I will be spending is that I would like this relationship between the alumni and the faculty to be direct, and I would like to give them as much space as possible, not in the form of a physical space, but more of a communication bridge between FMS and the alumni. And in the revamped website, we plan to have an alumni circle where alumni can directly interact with the existing or current students as well as with their own peer group. Whoever passed out 20 years ago, 10 years ago, they can get in touch with the faculty members as well as with their own group of people. The future of FMS is extremely bright because we currently have a, a huge number of new gems added to our faculty strength. I consider them as the most important people to be looking after the future of FMS. And in terms of what we desire, fortunately, the university, the vice chancellor is extremely uh, positive about helping FMS. We would be needing an expansion in our infrastructure. We would also be looking for some student amenities. I mean to say these two in a very, very simple terms. We are looking for an integrated campus where hopefully the entire student community would find some interest to stay back and remain in the premise of the academic premise as many hours as possible. Currently, that is not possible with the limited space that we have and the total number of students that we have enrolled. I think business schools have a great role to play in terms of not only grooming the business leaders in organizational setup, but also we need to encourage a large number of uh, business students to move into startups or having their own ventures. And one of the desires that, or rather, one of the uh, demands from most of the business schools graduates seem to be that there is a great deal of appetite for entrepreneurship, and business schools can complement that. I also see that the business schools, in its conventional way, will have to now start looking at other areas. For example, if institutions of technology and management schools can come together, then there is a fertile ground for technopreneurs, and there is also fertile ground for technology people and business people combining hands and making business ideas, technology ideas, a very viable business opportunity. And I see the business schools need to transform towards having greater collaboration with the technology institutes and universities. That's what I see as a future, especially with the advent of artificial intelligence and with the industry 5.0. We see that convergence will soon happen. Any student aspiring to come to FMS, be prepared to have a well-rounded personality, not just to focus on CAT 99.9 doesn't really will ensure you an opportunity here. We prefer people who would perhaps have certain work experience from diverse industry backgrounds. We also prefer students who would perhaps have certain kind of extracurricular activity and have been passionate about that in terms of some kind of achievement in that. We are not particular about you need to be an engineer or you need to be a biologist or you need to be a literary graduate. We are open to everybody. So you don't have to worry that the engineers are the only ones preferred here. That's not the case. So be well-rounded personality. That's what I would suggest as a possible, first step to come to FMS.